All right, welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. We got a real special guest today, boxing fans. We got former three-time world champion light heavyweight Bad Chad Dawson coming out of New Haven, Connecticut here today. It's a real honor to have you here on the show, Chad. Appreciate you. Boxing fans, you guys know who he is. You've seen him. He's been in the ring, numerous people. We could throw names all day long. Once again, thank you for taking the time out to be here on Coach's Corner.
No
we
problem.
appreciate you so much. Right now, you're a little bit transitioning into the coaching aspect.
Yeah.
Your career has brought you to coaching and everything else. And, here we kind of ask, I was talking with Johnny Callis, and boxing finds us.
Yeah.
Now, I know you played other sports, you played basketball and everything else. How did boxing find you, Chad?
I would say through my father. My father was a fighter, a long time ago. Just my family. It was in the family. It was in the family. One thing I can remember is being a little kid. I just always wanted to be a boxer.
Yeah.
Before I even knew what boxing was, just knowing that my father did it. Boxing gloves were always around. I just knew.
It was there in the light.
Yeah.
So as an amateur, how many amateur fights did you have?
I had about 95.
Wow. Now, always fighting out of New Haven, correct?
Yeah, I always fought out of New Haven. Yeah, so I moved from South Carolina to New Haven when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
Transitioned in, and now was it Ring One that you ventured into?
Yeah, the first gym I went to was Ring One Boxing. I met Brian Clark. At the time when I first started boxing, it was me and my two older brothers who boxed.
Right.
So.
How was that for the comp? Who was the better of the three? Obviously,
of course,
we know your career where it was, but if I had your brothers in here, maybe they'd be telling a different story.
I mean, I could honestly say that if they had kept doing it, if they stayed around, they would have made some noise. Yeah, they had the potential. They had
now, were they in the same weight class as you? Or?
No. We were all a weight class apart.
Okay.
Always it was never too much of a big gap.
So you guys were able to spar at least and work together without.
Yeah, I hated that, man. I hated sparring. So so I always, I was the younger brother, so I always we sparred. I always got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
But that gave me more the passion to want to be great. You know what I'm saying? So my brother Rick, he was really good. My brother Nick, he was good. He had one fight, then he didn't want to do it anymore. But all my brothers were all athletic. We all played basketball. We all played football. We all did different things.
So you had that competition going on between you. That I don't think we see that as much anymore today with kids.
Nah, you don't. I mean, we definitely had the brother rivalry in my house. We all were a year apart.
Yeah.
My older brother's 2 years older than the next one. The next one's 11 months older than me. Then I'm a year older than the next one after that. Then the other two are 11 months apart. So we're all like a year apart. So we all grew up real close. Tight knit family, and we just loved it. I mean, that family rivalry that just made us who we were. It just made me help me.
And that's the thing. We're not seeing today with these kids. Not only family rivalry, but the neighborhood rivalry.
Yeah.
Where whether it's boxing, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, you're out there competing, and that takes it over into. When did you know that this was the path that you wanted? As a young man, you were fighting.
Yeah.
Great background with Coach Clark, and other coaches up there at Ring One. When did you really kind of say, as a young man, it's going to be boxing for me?
When I was about 17. Because I played basketball. I was a pretty decent basketball player, and I'm not gonna say I was great, but I was decent. I had some potential, but I had to think to myself, I had a better chance of making that boxing or basketball. I know basketball was probably 1 in a million. But I knew that if I put some energy and some time into boxing, that it might have been something that I could do. So I chose boxing over basketball.
Well,
But I was at a very young age. When I was 17, I decided to focus more on boxing than basketball. But at the same time, I was still competing in boxing. I had just went to the Junior World Championships. I won a bronze medal in the Junior World Championships. When I was 17, I came back from the Junior World Championships, and I think I had 5 more amateur fights. Then I turned pro right after that.
Yeah. Was it an eye-opener when you went to that national championship? Coming out of, obviously you're fighting the best of the best around here, but now you go out into the world and you see.
That made me a different beast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I went to the especially going way over there and then winning a bronze medal.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I was the first one to win a bronze medal since 1982.
Yeah.
Even in medal. So that was big. When I came back from there, my head was on.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, got a bronze medal. USA Boxing gave me fighter of the year. So that was a good momentum going into getting ready to turn pro. So when I turned pro, I had a little bit of not a big amateur background, but
you had that international. You had experience. You weren't thinking Olympics.
Yeah. I think we were thinking. Me and Brian Clark, we were thinking Olympics, but at the time of the Olympics, I still would only have been 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
I still would have been a young kid fighting grown men.
Yeah.
So we thought it would have been cool just not get the Olympics, turn pro with the Olympians, and just ride that wave.
And ride it out there.
Yeah.
Now, coming back from from that national tournament, what was the buzz? For you to turn pro, for people that don't understand, that experience, who you're fighting, puts you on the map. Now people in the boxing world say, oh, where'd this kid come from? And you were fighting what, a middleweight at that point?
At that point, I fought at 165.
Yeah.
165. Yeah, so my last fight in the amateurs was at 165.
Yeah.
I turned pro at middleweight, 160. And at that time I was growing. I didn't stop growing until I was 22, 23.
Yeah, you weren't. You were still young, 17 years old, filling out. Who noticed you first? As a pro, or was it just you and Brian decided, hey, we're going to put it out there, we're going to get you fights, or
I think it was. I don't think anybody really noticed me. I think it was. I think Brian Clark thought it was a good idea that we turned pro and ride off the momentum of coming back from the Junior World Championship.
Right.
I think I had 5 more fights after that when we got back, and I won all those. Easy. It was so I was pretty much ready to turn pro. So I don't think anybody noticed me until after maybe 2 or 3 fights. I think Jimmy Burfield signed me after my first fight. I fought on the Jimmy Burfield card.
You were with CES earlier in your career.
Yes. Very early. My first fight was on the CES card. After that, CES, I think they signed me to a three-year deal. My first 17 fights were with CES. So my first 17 fights, I went 17-0 with CES. So by the time I left CES, I was ready to fight for world title. Yeah,
you were hot.
World title. Yeah.
You had 43 pro fights.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So at that point, you're moving and grooving in the sport, and now it's moving fast for you.
Yeah.
Now you're hot, and are you still training in New Haven at that point?
At that point, yes. At that point, I'm still training in New Haven. So I'm 17-0, right? I think I'm about 5 fights away from a world title fight. 17-0. I go with a new promoter, Gary Shaw.
Right.
And I signed that deal with him, and instantly, I think 2 or 3 fights, I was number 1 contender for WBC.
Yeah, Gary was putting a lot of shows on. He was hot at that time. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of good fighters, a lot of pull, and a lot of out there. What was now coming out? What did you see as a pro different than the amateurs? Because you're making a run here at 17-0, right? You're right out there moving. What did you see the difference in? What did you see in yourself as a fighter as you were growing?
Look, when I first come into the sport, I think my first 10 fights, man, I was still a knucklehead. I was still, I didn't look at I didn't look at boxing like it was like a job at that time. You know, I looked at it like I'm a good fighter. I'm good at what I do, but I wasn't like all the way sold in on I'm a professional fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I was still going to the gym training and then leave the gym, go home to my girlfriend, my son, who was 1 at the time, and then go hang out with my friends. And you know, right. I was still trying to juggle that life and being a boxer and being a new father. So it was tough at first. You know what I mean?
And I mean, locally, I think, and I talk about this with a lot of guys, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to fight locally as a pro.
No. So.
No,
it is very hard.
Yes,
it's very hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. You cannot.
You have a lot of distraction out there.
So many distractions. And once I understood that, it made it easier. Okay, so I would go to training. I would go to Las Vegas for training camp. You know, I was spending 2 months there training for a fight. I would train, fight, then I'd come home, rest, hang with my family, hang with my friends. As soon as my next fight gets scheduled, I'm right back out of there and right back to camp.
Yeah.
8-week camp. And I did the same thing from the time I won my world title to the time, the end of my career.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I see it like you just said, you know, staying home, not only with your girl, your children, you know, you want to be there for them, obviously. But it's the other distraction. You're winning out, all your boys, hey, when are you fighting?
Just being away, me, I always tried to make sure I take care of everything at home, like as far as like making sure my wife, my kids were good, make sure when I leave, so when I do get to camp, I'm not worried about do she need this, do they need this, do they need that. I make sure we always made sure everything was good at home, so when you go to camp, you can be comfortable.
Right.
You know,
no distractions, no phone calls. Try to put look, and early in your career, it wasn't so much like today. You know, cell phones being prevalent in social media, where every movement is being tracked of what you do.
And I always say that. I always tell everybody, I'm glad I kind of missed this era. You know, I kind of missed it. Like, I fell right just short of this era with the, social media and things like that. I mean, it's hard. I mean, social media, like, you see guys, you know, like get knocked out in a fight or get hurt, and then, you know, next day you go on YouTube and there's like memes about it. You know, I mean, it's
well, you know something, you were blessed in the sense for people outside of the boxing world that may not know who you are or heard of you. You were blessed because you fought on television continuously early in your career. Yeah. You were a mainstay on HBO. You fought on ESPN. You fought on Showtime. You were on TV. I mean, if we look at your box rec, the people that you fought, Tarver, Andre Ward, Jean Pascal, Adonis Steve, we can go on and on and on. Mm-hmm. You've been on, so you were out there in the mainstream of the time that HBO was doing boxing. You fought a lot on that aspect of it.
It was such an honor. Like, for me, it was such an honor to fight on HBO and to fight on Showtime.
Well, you know what? You're right, because for fight fans, HBO at that time, and nothing against Showtime, put the best fights on. Yeah. So, you know, when they put a fight on, like you said, as a fighter, if you got the call and said, hey, we're going to put you on the card on HBO, whether it's 4 rounds, 6, 8, or you're the main event. Hold it, I made it. Yeah. So let me tell you a quick story about that. So before I went with HBO, I was with Showtime. Okay.
So I had a deal with Showtime, and then I fought Tarver. The first Tarver fight, I beat Tarver.
Beat him twice.
After that, right after the first Tarver fight, we're in a restaurant, we eating dinner or whatever. I get a call from whoever was the president of HBO at the time. I don't know. I forget who it was, but he was the president of HBO Boxing. Oh, we're definitely gonna be bidding on your next fight. So I get a call. They said, "Oh, HBO gonna put on your next fight." I'm young. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about what was going on behind the scenes with Showtime or with HBO, like
the battle for the position.
Yeah. So I get a call from HBO. They want to put on my next fight. Me, I'm excited. I'm like, this is HBO.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Where I sign at? You know what I'm saying? So I signed with HBO, and not thinking that you forgot about Showtime. You got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess Showtime was about to give me a big deal, but I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So nobody told me about it. So I went ahead and signed with HBO. So that kind of killed that relationship with Showtime.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were salty about it or whatever, but they killed that deal. So now I was an HBO fighter. But I never knew anything about the Showtime deal.
The Showtime deal.
Yeah.
I mean, now fighters, we have so many different avenues. HBO and Showtime are no longer there anymore.
Yeah.
It's all pay-per-view. Al Heyman overseas and everybody else fighting for fights. But still, at the other aspect is become a mainstay on HBO.
Yeah.
And you run your career like some of the most exciting fights that you had. Like you said, you fought Tarver, beat Tarver twice.
Yeah.
Being in there with everybody else. Now, when's it click that I'm going to contend for a world championship? I'm not this young man anymore at 17-0. I'm going to be fighting for a world championship. Does that change the way you're doing things at this point, or are you still?
No, things changed with me. The way I trained changed when I met Dan Birmingham.
Yeah,
when I met Dan Birmingham. Yeah, that's when everything really started clicking. I trained with Dan Birmingham for I think a year and a half. Great trainer. I love working with him.
Yes.
Great trainer. He had Winky Wright. He had Jeff Lacey at the time.
Yes, he had a good stable.
Yeah, he had a good stable.
There.
That's when I first met Keith Thurman. People don't know this, but Keith Thurman.
He comes out of that
gym, and I trained.
Yes.
So Keith Thurman, right? Long story but short about Keith Thurman. I met Keith Thurman in Pensacola, Florida, when he was about 17 years old. And he was about 100, I think it was 140 pounds, 140, 50 pounds at the time.
I think it was fighting like 47 as an amateur.
So I come into the gym, they're like, oh yeah, we got this young kid, man. He's 17, but he give you good work. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm saying, I already got other sparring partners, but I'm like, all right, I get this young do some work. When I tell you that was good work, at 17 years old,
he was a dog.
Keith Thurman.
He was a dog, huh?
He was a dog. At 17 years old. I'm a whole professional fighter. I'm 17-0. I'm going to get a fight for a world title. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this kid's giving me like better work than the professionals were giving me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hats off to Keith Thurman. At a young age, he was really a outstanding fighter. He came out of that gym in St. Petersburg.
That whole area with Dan Birmingham, for people who don't know boxing, again, there are people, great trainer. He's had some, Winky Wright, like you said, Thurman, Jeff Lacey, won a medal for the Olympics.
Yeah, a lot of good fighters came out of St. Petersburg.
Oh, yeah.
Florida in general,
That whole area. What was the transition when you went to Dan? Now, you and no disrespect, Brian's a great trainer, great guy, I love him. But, when fighters change trainers, okay, one, why do they change? Why, as a fighter, do you change? And I know some of the reasons.
Yeah.
And two, when you're with a trainer for so long and you transition to another trainer, how does that play out as a fighter?
It could be bad. It could be good. I mean, I'm gonna say that the switch between me and Brian Clark, the transition with us, at first it didn't go good at all. I understand why. You know what I mean? If you felt like, I was with Brian Clark from the time I was 9 till I was 20, 21 years old. I understand why. You could be kind of, somebody that you raised, you trained, you feel like you taught, everything he knows, and now he's going to move on and go with another guy. I understand that, but at the end of the day,
you're the fighter.
The boxing becomes a business. It becomes a business, and at the time, honestly, I didn't nothing against Brian, but I didn't believe that he had not say the boxing knowledge, but he didn't have the tools to get me to the next level as a world class fighter. I think that Brian Clark's a great trainer. I tell everybody, if you want your son to really learn boxing and learn the basics of boxing, take him to Brian Clark, because he's going to teach him the basics. He's going to teach him everything. But as a professional trainer, he wasn't the one that was going to be able to get me there. And I've been through many trainers.
Yeah, you've worked with Eddie Mustafa. You worked with Manny Stewart. Scully. You've been with a lot of top notch people there. So as a fighter now, when you transition from one trainer to another, how did that feel in a sense? Were you? Did Dan try to change you too much, and what did he do?
No, Dan didn't try to change me at all. Dan.
What do you think, like, you're a trainer now too, and you're working with fighters, and what do you think a new trainer is like? He polished you more. What does he see in you, and what is he kind of?
I think you can say polished. All right, the best two trainers I work with, the best three. I'm gonna say the best three: Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Manuel Stewart, and Floyd Senior.
Right.
But things didn't work with me and Floyd Senior, right? Because we just didn't
click.
Personality
right.
didn't click.
He's a rough personality, but he's a great boxing guy.
Great boxing IQ. He was good, but our personality just didn't click. It didn't click at all.
Yeah,
at all. From the first week we started working together, I could tell. Even though I won my first world title with Floyd Senior. My first world title I won with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was and today still many people say that was one of my greatest performances. So he great boxing trainer, but just personality just didn't click. Emmanuel Stewart, great trainer. Unfortunately, he passed away like I think a year after I got a chance to work with him. Great trainer though. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, probably
very underrated trainer, but people know him. It's just
taught me so much.
Technician.
Yeah, technician taught me so much as far as like not just boxing, being a man, how a champion should carry yourself, things like that. All the trainers I work with, I learned something from everybody. Yeah,
I think that's it. I was blessed to be in a camp with Manny, with Vladimir Klitschko for a week, and I sat there, and this goes back before we have the phones and everything. I had a BlackBerry, right? So I would go back at night to the hotel room and I'd write stuff down in a book that he was talking about what he was training, and I still look at it and go through it today. But yeah, I think for me, what you're saying, yes, it's hard from a trainer's aspect of when a fighter decides to leave. But if you're a good trainer, you're going to tell your fighter, look, you got to do what's right for you. It's your career.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we can't put two square pegs in a round hole here and be successful.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to training, it's always when you got to, I met Brian when I was 9 or 10.
Right. So that's all you knew.
And but from the time I was 10 till I was 17, 18, I mean, we always had ups and downs. I'm in the gym, I'm out the gym. I'm in the gym, I'm out the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was never, like, consistent at that time. You know what I'm saying? I would be in the gym 1 minute, to 2 months I'm gone, and I'm back for 2 months, and I'm gone for 2 months. So it was, like, never really any consistency there. But then when I turned pro, things just changed. You know what I'm saying? Like I got more serious, but I wasn't serious. You know what I mean? I got more serious, but I wasn't serious. And Brian Clark was just, chasing me, trying to get me a gym. And, I think that right there took more of a toll on our relationship at that time because of me not being in the gym and me doing other things. I think that was more. But so then when we finally did come to the point where we were going to separate, it was more like Brian Clark was like, okay, you can go ahead. I mean, good luck, and that's how I went.
Did the serious part for you come when you went to other camps and started to work with other trainers and see some of these world-class fighters?
It really got serious with me when I went to Vegas. When I got to Vegas,
right? You were with Eddie and Floyd Senior at that time, right?
Yeah. No, the first time I went to Vegas was actually with Dan Birmingham.
Okay.
The first time I went to Vegas was with Dan Birmingham, and I wasn't training or nothing. I just I flew out there for the Boxing Hall of Fame weekend or something. No, matter of fact, the first time I ever went to Vegas, I went to the Diego Corrales versus Castillo fight. The first one, and I sat ringside. That was my first time ever in Vegas. And then I went back.
That was an exciting fight.
That was exciting. I couldn't believe I was there. Yeah. One of the greatest fights of all time. So I fought on I fought on one of the greatest cards of all time, which was Andre Ward and Mickey Ward part 1. I fought on the undercard of that. And then I got to sit ringside at the Diego Corrales and Castillo fight. So I was at two of the greatest fights of all time. So, I mean, that was my first time going to Vegas. And then after that, I was just like hooked on it. So we booked my next training camp to be in Las Vegas. I went, and it changed my mind about everything. I got to work with a strength and condition trainer for the first time in my whole career. I never, ever worked with a strength and condition trainer. Right. So I met Axel Murillo, from Louisiana. I met him in Vegas. I started working with him. I started to get stronger. I started to get faster. You know, I started working with Floyd Sr., then I met Eddie. You know, he started giving me the knowledge. I started getting better, and I started putting all those things together. So if you got talent, right, this is when I learned this, right? If you can have all the talent in the world, right, but if you don't have a work ethic, it don't work. It's not gonna work, right? So when I put those two things together, my hard work with my talent.
Yeah, but you're also...
Coach, sorry, I don't want to interrupt while you're telling the story. Just stay forward because you're falling out of the frame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
See, no, you're good.
Falling back.
It'll be good. I want to let him finish so it can be like good.
Gotcha.
But yeah, just make sure you stay forward.
What people don't realize in boxing, even though it's an individual sport, there's a team behind you. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, we see it today. Yeah. In your career, it started to... You see boxing started to change where we bring in strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, you know, psychologists, or everybody's being brought into you that's, you know, building you as a fighter. Yeah. And, you know, being out there, you're working with the best people. Mm-hmm. You're working with people that are knee-deep in the sport, building champions, and they're like, they see you have talent, and they're like, okay, we're going to give you the tools to be successful. Now, who do you feel that you work the best with out there?
Trainers?
Yeah. Now, you had success with all of them.
Yeah, I had success with all of them, but I've definitely Eddie Mustafa.
Yeah.
Mustafa Muhammad, yeah. Only because...
What was his training like with you?
I mean, it was just nonstop knowledge. He just giving knowledge.
Right.
And I would not say it's knowledge because it wouldn't be knowledge if it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, as a trainer, right, this is just from my experience. I've only been a trainer for maybe 3 or 4 years, handful of years, right? But from my experience, like, a trainer and a fighter have to get along, right? A trainer has to trust a fighter, and a fighter has to trust a trainer, right? If there's no trust, if one guy trusts the other, but the other one don't trust, it's not going to work.
No.
Right? You have to believe in your trainer, just like the trainer has to believe in the fighter. So even though I had so many trainers, right, it's not that I lost the trust in them or anything like that. It's just that
timing is different in your career. That you want to...
just only one of my trainers I had a bad falling out with, John Scully. That's it. Right, and it wasn't. I don't want to call it a bad falling out because there was no bad words exchange or no ill intentions or anything like that. But the way we split, you know what I mean, like, it just wasn't on good terms. Like, we just stopped talking, cold turkey. That's it. It was like nothing else. That's it.
Yeah, well, you know something. Feelings get personal. Like you said, you mentioned trainers and fighters. You got to click together because you're spending so much damn time together. Yeah. I got to know you in and out. You got to know me in and out. We got to know.
So that was the thing with Scully. So like I remember Scully when we were kids, man. We went on in-between. He was like, everybody loved to be around Scully. We couldn't wait.
Yeah, he's got a big personality.
We couldn't wait. I mean, we couldn't wait to go to trip, go to Ohio State Fair because Scully's gonna be there. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have kickback. We're gonna and years later, it's like I haven't been around for a while. I turned pro, and then he comes back when I turned pro, and we trained. I think we were together for like 3 or 4 fights. Everything was going good, but then I started to notice that Scully's not the same Scully that he was when I was
he's not.
So it was kind of weird because we were looking like I was looking like, okay, he's gonna make camp fun again. We're gonna have fun, but then you realize that Scully's not the same Scully he was back then.
Because he's got his job.
He was more serious. More like I remember one day we were in Florida in camp. We're in camp, and I thought it was cool to play a trick on him. Right? I'm like, yeah, this will make him laugh. Make him laugh. So me and my brother, we stole his cell phone. Right? Not stole his cell phone, but we took his cell phone to hide it from him, right? So we took his cell phone and we hid it. And he's looking for his cell phone. He's like going crazy, he's like, where's my cell phone? I gotta find my cell phone. I gotta find my cell phone. He's going crazy looking for the cell phone. Then finally we like, yo, nah, he just give him his phone back. We get him the phone back. Like, we laughing, like, it's just a joke, we just playing. But he didn't think it was funny at all. My brother was like, oh, he ain't just saying Scully no more. Nah. So, I mean, back in the day, something like that would have been funny to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
now he's wearing a different role.
Yeah,
he's got to worry about you as a coach and make sure his fighter's prepared and everything else.
Yeah, but I know the thing that he got a lot. He was more serious than he was. Yeah. But I bring him into camp just to soften camp up, make it,
Yeah.
But I realized that he wasn't that same person anymore.
So, your ring pedigree, I mean, the names and everything else. Your first championship was what, against Adamek?
Yeah, Tomas Adamek.
Tomas Adamek, you beat him what, for the IBO or the IBF?
WBC.
WBC. Yeah. And, after that, you're on a run.
Yeah.
Names are coming out of the board. I mean, Tarver, Hopkins, Pascal, Stevenson, Glenn Johnson, Road Warrior. People today, like, for 4 or 5 years, you don't have, I don't like to use this word where fighters are cherry picking today, but you're fighting everybody at this point. You fought Tarver back to back, and I mean Andre Ward, I left him out. I'm sorry, I left him out, but like, what's your thought process at this point? Like, just bring him?
Nah, I was the best. Nah, I just had a chip on my shoulder. I was the best. I knew I was the best. I knew I could beat Tarver. I knew I could beat Glenn Johnson. I knew I could beat Bernard. I just knew I could. I just knew.
I mean, Bernard had 52 wins when you beat him.
But like I said,
and
he was on the back. He was on the back end of his career.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was still beating guys my age, youngest. I mean,
at that time, Hopkins was a career killer for people.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody fought him in his style. How did you prepare for his style? Because the other guys I could kind of see, but Bernard Hopkins, Winky Wright, they got a very, very
So I'm gonna tell you what, you can't prepare for no style like that. For Bernard Hopkins, you can't. There's no way you can prepare for it. I mean, all you could do is our whole thing was just to not let him frustrate you. Not let him
State of the plan.
State of the plan. Don't let him frustrate you. He's gonna do his.
He was talking
tactics.
Shit the whole fight.
He was talking. So the first fight, I let him get to me. The first fight, he fell on the shoulder, say dislocated shoulder. That fight, I let him get to me. I came because I started out fast and I jumped right on. I wanted to hurt him. So it kind of backfired because the fight got stopped in the first round. I think he fell on the shoulder to stop the fight.
Yes.
So we go into the rematch. The rematch, I was more cool, more calm, more collected because I knew I could beat him. I knew it wasn't.
Yeah, you already tasted it.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't gonna beat me. I knew I could beat him. So the second fight was pretty much. I'm not gonna say it was easy because it wasn't easy because I know no man wants to get head bunted purposely 5, 6, 7 times in a row. Nobody wants that. So but just knowing what I was getting into, knowing what I was going there to do, I got the victory. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I beat one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Be one of the greatest fighters of all time. I mean, you fight Tarver twice.
Yeah.
Beat him twice. Mm-hmm. He was hot.
Yeah, so that was at the point of my career. I felt like everything was like, you beat Tarver? Nah, run that back. You gotta fight him again. Nah, beat Glenn Johnson? Oh no, you gonna fight him again. Nah, Tarver? Oh no, you gonna fight him again. I mean, so it was kind of like.
Just one.
In some ways, it was
double whammy and show everybody like it wasn't a fluke.
It was like a delay of my career, because remember, so I fought. That's like 3 years. That's like 3 years of fighting the same person.
Yeah.
I fought Glenn Johnson twice, a year apart. And I fought Tarver back to back. Then I fought B-Hop back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty much. That's 3 years of my career.
Right. But they were also hot commodities on television too. So for Styles making fights and everything else like that, and the Pascal fights obviously.
Yeah.
But I need to ask you one thing here.
Yeah.
What was the thought process of going down to fight Ward?
Oh man, big. Look, I'm not. Andre Ward's a great fighter. I'm not gonna make excuses.
I know that, but you're at the top of your game at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
You're just put him up there, we'll fight him.
Yeah.
Put him up there, we'll fight him.
Yeah.
And look, I understand from a competitive level. I get it.
Yeah.
But walk me through that.
So the biggest mistake I made was calling him out. Not calling him out, but calling him out at the weight. Right. Because at that time, I was in training camp. Some days I was leaving camp like 169, 168, so we figured that's not, we could do 168, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was a bad calculation on my part. My team's, I'm not gonna say, because I made the decision to fight at that weight, so I'm not gonna blame it on my team. I'm not gonna, no, it was my fault. I chose to compete at that weight, but I didn't know that it would be that hard to get
drop it down,
drop that weight
and
down.
fight at that weight.
And we got the weight off. I got on a scale one time and made the weight. One time.
Did you feel that you weren't strong enough at that weight?
So I didn't start to feel the effects of it until I felt after the weigh-in. I felt good. Like I made the weight. Okay, of course I felt good because I made the weight. And then the rehydration part was the part that
didn't happen as quick as you thought.
Yeah. So no, it happened quick. I rehydrated real good. I went up the night of the fight. I was like 198. I weighed in at 168.
Yeah.
Night of the fight, I was like 198.
But I mean, not that it didn't. You didn't feel good after rehydrating.
I didn't feel good. I was weak. I wasn't
right.
And so I mean, this is how bad it was. I don't even remember the fight. That's how bad it was. Like I don't remember. Like I can't tell you like what round from what round because I don't. Only thing I remember the ref. I remember being totally like drained
out,
and I remember every time he hit me,
there was nothing to answer to it.
Like I would just go down. Like it wasn't even like I would just go down. Like I had no legs, and I just remember the ref saying, "Yeah, you sure you want to continue?" And that's a smart question. I said I'm good. I said I'm not because eventually I would have got hit with something that would have hurt me worse than anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a bad decision on my part to fight at that weight. Andre Ward's a great fighter, and I think it would be not gonna say that I would have beat him at 175. I would have had
different
a
fight.
It would have been a different fight. Do I believe if we fought at 175, if that would have been a different fight, and I possibly would have had my hand raised? Yeah. I mean, I watched that fight once or twice, and I mean, the first 3 rounds were pretty close rounds. I mean, they were close rounds. Then he started to pull away as I started,
Right. As the fight wore down on you, the weight and everything else, your mental, your physical stuff.
And Ward has a lot of Bernard Hopkins qualities about him.
Yeah, he's got tricks.
Yeah, he got tricks. Yeah.
He got a lot of tricks like that. I mean, but look, nobody could say, like, we talk about fighters today and not disrespectful. I'm not going to disrespect a fighter at all because getting in the ring is tough enough.
Yeah.
Whether you fight, whoever you fight. But you're a different breed out there at that time, maybe compared to some of these guys today. You said no to nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, you fought Adonis Stevenson after Ward. Fought Pascal again. Yeah. I mean,
then after I lost to Pascal, I went back to Canada to fight Diacono.
Yeah, Andre Diacono.
Yeah.
So like, do you look back and say, damn, look at the names, look at the people that I went against?
Yeah, I do.
Does it like, do you, I know for me looking at certain fighters, and I don't like to use the word cherry pick, but I'm going to use it. I think today fighters are protected a little bit more. I
think, you know why? Because they got the option. I think they got the option to be selective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? Okay. But you're fighting mainstream.
Yeah.
Your career spanned like this, and I understand what you're saying, option, right? You're not fighting on some undercard on some. Yeah. You're fighting main events, co-main events, over and over again.
I always looked at look. Anytime a name came across the desk, this who you fighting? All right. I didn't watch tape. I just said, all right.
Did you turn anybody down that people don't know about?
No, I never turned anybody. I never turned the fight down. I remember at one point, Kovalev was my
mandatory.
Who was like your fight? Kovalev and mandatory. I was going to fight somebody, and they was telling me that he was going to be my next fight if I win that fight. God, what did? Think about the. After I beat Tarver this first time or second time, I know he was on my radar though. He was on my radar at the time. Yeah. And then Beterbiev wasn't in the picture.
No.
Like none of those guys were even in the picture when I was around. So I mean, they were in the picture, but they were like,
but even no offense, Kovalev didn't fight the people that you fought.
No.
Beterbiev has not fought the people that you have fought.
Yeah.
Consistently, and no offense to these guys, maybe that's just they're people that didn't want to fight them at the time. You know, Kovalev was a strong fighter.
Yeah.
How do you think you would have fared with him?
Beterbiev?
No, Kovalev.
Oh, I think I did good. I mean, I think I did great. I mean, good puncher, but I mean,
yeah,
everybody knows. I mean,
one-dimensional.
Everybody wants to learn the American style, right? I mean, I feel like I had this in my prime, and Kovalev in his prime. Yeah, I mean, I'm a better fighter, far better fighter.
Yeah,
far better fighter. I mean, far punching power. Yeah, he might have.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily always.
But as far as like, I mean,
you know, ring IQ and everything at that time, your ring IQ was off the charts compared to his.
I mean,
totally
athleticism, man.
Yeah,
that's what I tell everybody. Look, man, athleticism is the biggest thing you can have in boxing. Being athletic, being able to move, being able to, you know, quick feet, hand-eye coordination. I mean, those are the best tools you can have in boxing.
You think that comes from you playing those sports growing up?
Definitely, yeah.
Me
and my brother, we all just athletic.
Yeah, I think that, you know, look, again, we don't see that today. Everybody playing, you know, when you're playing in the street, whatever it is, basketball, whatever, football, baseball, you know, it carries over into other sports because you're always doing something.
Yeah.
You know, you're out there, and I say to, you know, you're coaching now, you get some kids that come in and you're training them, they have no footwork whatsoever.
Yeah.
And you ask them, what do you do? Did you ever play basketball?
Mm-hmm.
No. You ever play baseball? No. You ever run after somebody? No.
Especially today. You get that a lot today. Yeah. I mean, you get kids that just come off the couch, won't eat breakfast, won't jog, and then come to the gym talking about they're working out in the bag.
Yeah.
Then they tell you, oh, coach, I feel sick. You feel sick because you sat in the house all day playing a video game, eating Cheerios, eating this, you know what I'm saying? And now you come to the gym, you trying to work out.
See, that's a hard part for me today, okay? So I am older than you. I grew up in a different era, but you caught the back end of it, okay? The social media wasn't out there. We had to be outside playing. And that's where I wanted to be, right?
Yeah.
Like but here we have kids today and fighters and everybody else and all different athletes that have everything they need at their fingertips to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, I think the kids, they do have it better than we had it. It's much easier than it is than what we had. But what we had to do to get what we have is much greater, right? Because we struggled to get. It was hard for us, right? So we made it easier for them, right? So it's easier for them. So it shouldn't be that much harder for them to get further than where we.
But they should learn from the struggle.
Yeah, true.
Like now you're training. You know, I know you're training kids and you've been involved now, and you were in the Jake Paul camp.
Yeah.
You sparred him, and give me your thoughts on that. I mean, I'm going to ask you this today, right? Mm-hmm. With your pedigree today, the amount of people you fought, who you fought, do you think you missed out on the big pay-per-view money, with some of these fighters out there that are getting paid today?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I always said, look, boxing, when you get into boxing, like, further you take it, you can't have no regrets, right? If you make it to 30-0, you know, you had some tough fights, you can't regret that. You can't regret the punches you take, the punishments you take. You can't regret that. You only live with it, right? So me, I don't regret anything that happened in my career. I don't regret it because it's what I chose to do. I chose to be a boxer. I chose to, I knew the consequences before I went into it.
Right.
So I don't have no regrets about my career. You know, like you said, do I sit back and think about my career? Yeah, I do, all the time. I think about my career. You know, I watch these young guys on TV, and I wish I trained like that. Wish I did that. But
those avenues might not have been out there.
Yeah.
As opposed to today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like
yeah.
you trained with what you were given.
Yeah.
As opposed, and these kids are training with what they have today.
Yeah. Which goes back to Jake Paul, right? Jake Paul. One thing I respect about Jake Paul, he's a great guy. I met him, good guy, a positive guy. But the way he approaches training, right? He doesn't train like the average boxer trains, right? He takes a different route, right? He does yoga, he does different stuff like that. He does all types of stretches and, he comes to the gym, he spars, he hits the bag. But his main focus is the meditation, getting your mind right, believing in yourself, that's where he gets the courage and the confidence from. Right?
So I was just, okay, I get all of this stuff today because in every sport we got guys that do anything. You as a fighter, is that going to benefit a fighter when it's really time to fight?
No. Me, I believe in if I got a tough fight coming out, right? If I know I'm going to fight Glenn Johnson, right? A world warrior, right? Somebody who's coming in to hurt me, who's going to try to kill me. I don't want soft sparring partners, right? And I don't want.
And do you think today that's what we're seeing with these fighters? They bring in the sparring partners that it's easy.
Yeah.
See, I agree with you. See, I grew up old school. Look, you got to have 3 levels of sparring partners. I think when you
I always had three sparring partners. I always come in the camp with 3 sparring partners. Two of them we trying to send them home, right? We want to send 2 of them home, right? We really want to keep one because we ain't trying to pay 3 people, right? We only want to keep one of them. So for the first 2 weeks, we're gonna keep 2. We're gonna make the other 2 want to go home, and the last one, he's the toughest one. So that's gonna be our good.
He's
sparring.
gonna push you. Yeah, we want people to look. At the end of the day, I want a guy who's gonna challenge my fighter and make it a little hard for him to walk into the fight. Because if we walking into the fight easy, I don't know. I'm a little superstitious like that.
What can you benefit from? So easy sparring.
No, that's like hitting off a pitcher machine. You're hitting home runs all day.
What I'm seeing when I'm sparring is what I'm going to be seeing in the fight. So I want to see what I'm seeing in the fight in the sparring.
Yeah.
Right. You can't rehearse boxing.
No.
You can't rehearse.
No. Not at all. There's no walkthrough. Yeah. There's no nothing. Eventually, you got to get in that ring and you got to feel it.
Yeah.
You got to punch. You got to be able to know what how you can punch, cut distance, and move. So let me ask you, Jake Paul. And I keep talking about it with everybody. I ask everybody the same thing. Is he good for boxing, Chad?
He's good for boxing. Yeah, he's good for boxing. Yeah, he's given a lot of fighters chances that they wouldn't get. He's given a lot of mixed martial arts fighters chances that they wouldn't get.
I mean, I watched that fight Saturday night.
Yeah.
And, Chavez Jr. was the first fight. There's 17,000 people in the stands in Tampa, Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's...
I've been to 2 of his fights. Both fights, both times they were sold out arenas. Sold out. So, I mean, he's putting people in the seats, getting the pay-per-view money, and like you said, is he good for boxing? Yes, he's definitely good for boxing.
Yeah.
Great for boxing.
How was he when you worked with him in the ring?
Getting better. I mean,
what do you see? What do you see as a coach for him? Everybody says he has a method to his madness of the people he's picking to fight. I get it. Who can he legitimately fight and who can he not? Like, I heard the last fight after this, he's calling out Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
And, we Alex trains around here and we know, I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Look, he's confident, right? And as a fighter, you got to be confident. If you don't have confidence,
you gotta have it in there. But you know what? You're in there with him.
Yeah.
You can be confident as fuck. And if you got no skills or you ain't got it, somebody's gonna expose you because you don't have the experience.
You can have confidence too in still lose. I mean, you saw the fight that was on the undercard of Jake Paul's fight this weekend. What's his name? The guy.
H2O.
H2O. Oh man. I mean,
Yeah.
but I was watching that fight with Sarah. Man, look, man, mistakes, man. You got to fix mistakes, man. You got to fix them early. You can't, man. The mistakes he was making in that fight, mistakes that should have been fixed before he came out of the amateurs, man. I mean, hands down. I mean, it's cool to be flashy. It's cool to have this and that, but man, you got to be smart. You got to be defensively sound in there, man. You got to be smart. You got to be. I mean,
I agree.
He made every mistake in the book. It's just that, he's a point to capitalize off his mistakes.
Two punches, and there's boxing. Punches. You make a mistake and you pay. He made the mistake.
I'm praying for him. Hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Hope he makes a good comeback. But I mean, taking shots like that usually don't come back the same fighter.
No, it was a brutal knockout. Well, it was definitely a brutal knockout like that. And as a trainer now, you talk about mistakes and everything else, and everything is flash, right? Yeah. Everybody's looking at the internet. Who's this? Hands down, styles, and everything else. You're working with young fighters.
Yeah.
You get a young fighter in. What is your breakdown right away? And because look, boxing. One thing about boxing hasn't changed. The fundamentals of boxing is still the same.
Yeah, they're never gonna change.
And not, you know what I mean? Fighters get bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah. But you still got to do certain things.
Yeah. Yep.
When you get and you've got some young kids, you're working with some pros. What is it like? And do some of your students really know the experience that you have as a fighter, and now and coming into a trainer?
I mean, it's different when you got a guy who comes off the street who just wants to try boxing. Mm-hmm. It's different when you got a guy who comes off the street who really wants to box and really knows boxing, knows about boxing. It's kind of different. So, like somebody who comes to the gym who just wants to learn how to box, who's new at it, who just want to box. I mean, yeah, you could teach him how to box, but you're not really giving him everything, right? You're not giving him the whole book, right? But if you get somebody who comes in there who shows the work ethic, who wants to learn, who wants to be a boxer, like you're comfortable giving them a little bit more than you won't give them everything, right?
No, you give them bits and pieces.
Yeah, you give them bits and pieces. So I mean, my transition from a fighter to a trainer is decent because I'm taking it slow, because I don't want to jump in over my head. I don't want to jump in over my head and take on a fighter or a professional fighter and not be able to give him, the attention and time that he needs, right? So, I'm slowly transitioning into.
But you've had great trainers that you've learned from. Who do you? Is it a bunch of them that you take and put together and what you work with, or is it you?
I think it's a bunch. It's everything
that you've learned.
That I've learned. Everything that I've learned. I mean, of course, being a trainer is just not being able to teach somebody how to box. That's not being a trainer. A trainer is being able to articulate to the fighter, have good conversations with the fighter about boxing.
And that's what people don't realize. People don't realize. Even boxing is an individual sport, and I'm a big tape guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Always was, always will be. And what you're saying is right. You got to sit down with your fighter and say, and what's going on. And I'm not going to say his name. I had a fighter. My thing is like this. I'll always ask a fighter, what do you see during the fight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll tell you off camera who the fighter was. We're in a fight. Mm-hmm. It's a title fight, right? And fighter comes back to the corner and like, okay, what do you see out there? Because we already know what the plan was. Mm-hmm. And the fighter looks at me and he goes, I said, it's not a trick question. What are you seeing out there? Mm-hmm. Do you see the right hand? Is the jab there? Is the hook there? Is everything we worked on there? Yeah. Are you feeling it? Mm-hmm. And I think boxing people know, but I think the fan doesn't realize what, they think it's just a guy out there going out there throwing his hands for 12 rounds and that there's no plan, there's no coordination, there's no up and down, there's no anything there.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a big perception about boxing that like the average boxing fan wouldn't think. People see us fight on TV and they think it's just us going in and fighting and making a lot of money. It's not. No. Like, you're not. We get paid for the things that the public don't see, right? the 8-week training camp.
Sacrifice.
Right? Sacrifice. That's what we get paid for. We get paid for
Sacrifice.
our sacrifices, hard work, the pain, everything that we go through to get ready to entertain you guys.
Yeah.
That's what we get paid for. It's not, we don't actually get paid. Yeah, we get paid because we're fighting on TV. Yeah, we get paid, but we're entertaining you guys, but we get paid for the outside, the work that you don't see us do, the 8-week training camps.
Yeah.
The
4 o'clock in the morning
running. 4 o'clock morning runs. The 3 o'clock sessions in the afternoon. Back at the gym at 6 o'clock for the strength and conditioning. You know, the countless nights of being sore. That
Right.
you might have tweaked your shoulder in training camp. You know, you got to sit out for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? You might have to keep going back to the doctor for something. You know, that's bothering you before the fight.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that's what we get paid for. You know, we get paid to entertain you guys. We get paid to to put our body through hell.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've had a blessed career, right? There's a lot of fighters out there. We know them. You know, they've won 20 fights, and they're not making any real money.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not taking care of their families the way they really should be.
Yes,
You know?
I mean, a lot of guys. Oh, I got 20 fights now. I'm still only making this much money. Yeah, you got 20 fights, but you gotta have some type of presence in boxing. Right? You gotta have now you got social media and everything like that now, right? Like people aren't looking for boring fights. Like with the Shakur Stevenson thing, right?
Yeah.
To me watching Shakur Stevenson fight is a brilliant fight. It's entertaining to me. I love it. I love that.
Yeah, but we're looking at it as, you know, coaches, former fighters. We know what he's doing.
Yeah, but the average boxer, they don't know. They think it's just boring. They want to see knockouts. They want to see people get hurt.
That's not his style.
That's not his style, and that's not what boxing was built off, right? I always tell you, boxing is a hit and don't get hit sport, right?
Oh,
I'm not going in there to get hit, right? If I get hit, you got to earn it, right? If I get hit, it's because I made a mistake and he capitalized off it, and vice versa. Like I'm not going out there because I like getting hit. I don't know no fighter goes out there because they like getting hit. No, we don't like.
That's why when we talk to fighters like that, you like getting hit, you got a little problem going on.
You got something wrong with you.
You know what I mean? Because we don't want you getting hit.
We don't want to get hit.
That's right, 100%. But you know, we look at it this way. Like getting back to that, you'll have pitchers in baseball win 20 games and they open the checkbook to us.
Yeah,
you get whatever money you want one season, right? Some of these fighters are out there; they're still working, and getting back to Jake Paul, that's where I kind of like. Hey, he's giving people opportunities. He's bringing boxing back again. He's putting a little bit of maybe the WWE wrestling in with boxing.
Yeah.
Where
but it's entertaining. And
yeah.
People and he definitely put more eyes on boxing. He definitely. I mean, the average person wasn't a boxing fan until Jake Paul. I mean, guys were
younger guys
into YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, now you go to those fights, you see little kids brought their parents to the fight because they're too young to get in the arena, so they got to come with their parents.
Yeah.
But it's mostly kids. The parents came with their kids. And that's our biggest fan base is. From ages 6 to.
Well, him and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, Ryan. I mean, he's one a little crazy the last.
Yeah, but the thing is, he could fight if he put his mind. If he really focused on it, he's got skills.
Yeah, he does. I mean. When he fought Devin Haney, I didn't think he was going to get the knockout, but I thought he was going to win a unanimous decision. I was going to give it to him because I thought he had the speed that would offset anything that
I thought he had the speed and definitely. I'm with you.
More power.
Power. Yeah, I was. I didn't expect the knockout that came with it, like everybody else. I just thought Haney was a better pedigree, experience-wise, to control the ring and big ring IQ that would have gave Ryan an issue. But hats off to him. He fought a great fight. He's a great young and up-and-coming talent, and he's bringing young people to the sport that probably would have never watched it.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. I mean,
you know as well as I do. These promoters
you want to keep the sport moving forward, man. I mean, all this. I mean, boxing's not dead, man. I don't think boxing ever. I mean, as long as we got new faces coming in that are able to carry the torch and continue to put on great fights. I mean, it's.
You know why boxing's not dead? People say boxing's dead. Okay, look at all the offshoots of pro boxing right now. You have these little different companies going out, Misfits, this, that, Influence.
Yeah.
Why are they offshooting off of that? Because they know it's popular.
Yeah.
They're just finding another way to market it.
Which is very creative. I like the one rounders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those one rounders. That's cool. And it's cool. A lot of different things got bare knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many different lanes.
Combat sports are there. People want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Fans want to see it, whether it's boxing, MMA, bare knuckles, slap, whatever the case may be. I just think right now that we just need to keep cultivating young fighters.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Gyms are kind of, we're blessed in Connecticut. We have a lot of good gyms. There are a lot of good fighters. When I was talking to Johnny Callis before, people, I grew up in New York, moved to Connecticut, and, now I'm involved in the boxing in Connecticut. People don't realize the talent that's been here throughout the years.
Marlon,
look at your area. You, Tremaine, Elvin Ayala, okay?
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. Yeah. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Great fighters, yeah.
All Louis Rosa's guys over there.
Yeah, and it's getting bigger. It's only getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's only getting bigger.
It's getting on the coaching end.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. Your toughest fight, who was it?
My toughest fight. My Glenn Johnson won. That was my toughest fight.
Awkward.
Never seen nothing like it before.
Using his shoulder, running in up on you and under you.
Before the first Glenn Johnson fight, I never.
Right.
That was my first time going into I didn't realize that was gonna be my first time going to. That was really my biggest fight. Winning my world title, I won the world title, but after that, I had 2 fights that were pretty much okay.
Yeah, keep you busy.
Then I fought Glenn Johnson, and that's when I thought 36 was old. Yo, you got James Johnson. He 36. Oh, I beat that old man. I beat that old man. It's nothing. I was 26, 27 at the time. I got 10 years on him. I'm not the piece of cake, but it was ended up being one of the toughest fights of my
Yeah, a lot of experience.
Every round. After the third round, every round was like, all right, you gotta fight. You gotta fight for this. He ain't laying down.
No.
He coming. And he wanted just as bad as you wanted. So that was my first time being in the fire, this might not.
I gotta change it up here.
Yeah.
But at that time too, he's fighting everybody too. He's fighting Tara, Roy Jones Jr.
Roy,
he's on a little bit of a high right now. They're throwing him out there for you, and his style is definitely a little awkward. For most people who haven't seen him fight, he's a tough guy. Like you said, you couldn't get him out.
Yeah, couldn't get him out of there. But the rematch was easier.
Yeah, because you had the game plan already. You knew what was.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe at that second, maybe at the first point, the age difference, you overlooked him a little bit, and that played into you.
Yeah.
And the second time is, look, you're a young buck. He's still.
Yeah, the second time was more. Second time, he was older and I was older. I think the second time was 2 years after the first fight. It was 2 years after the first time. So I matured 2 years and he matured 2 years. He got older than me. So going into the rematch, I was ready for it.
So, a couple of years ago, you made a run again. Mm-hmm. You decided you wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And where'd that come from? Was that just because you? And look, you're in great shape. I've seen you in the gym. You've worked with fighters. You know what I mean? But was it
No, just
Was it just
hard?
I want to go back out there and see what I got left.
I'm gonna tell the truth, man. You miss the spotlight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you miss the spotlight. Sometimes you just don't want you hate to believe that it's over, right? You tell yourself it's over, but you just don't want it to be over, right? You had your time. I had my time. I think from 2019,
36 wins.
2019, I think 2018 to 2000. I think my run was 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
And I came and decided to come back 2 or 3
Yeah.
years. I had 5 or 6 fights. I think I went 4 and 2 or something like that. I mean, it wasn't the same no more. You know,
Right.
When I lost my world title, I didn't think it was gonna be so hard to get it back. After that, I mean, pretty much everything was. It just wasn't me. You know, I made the right choices
no
at the right time.
purpose.
Yeah, there was no purpose. I lost the fire. You know, the passion. You know,
Training is different.
Training is different. Yeah, training is different because now they're not just depending on their ability, they're depending on the coach's ability too. So
Yeah.
I mean, now I got to level up a little more too as a trainer too. So
Well, then you know
and
what?
I'm a new trainer too. So I'm a puppy. I'm a baby. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I still can learn from guys like you who's been around, who's been doing this. You know, I'm just looking to get better at being a trainer and. You know.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's nothing like having the experience that you had and obviously being around some of the people, the great knowledge of this game that you're going to bring out there. And these kids are definitely going to benefit from you as this. And, you know, you're a humble guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen you work with your sons, and that's got to be a tough dynamic. Yeah. I mean, because, you know, not only are you coach, but you're dad.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, it's hard because I know the sport, and then when your son tells you he wants to get into the sport, and then I know the ups and downs of the sport. I know what comes with the sport.
Right.
I know the effects of the sport. I know.
Yeah, you've been there. You lived
I've
it.
been there. I lived it, and then you think about that, right? And when I think about it, I think about. I just don't want you don't want your son to go through that, right? Because I know what it's like. I know the snakes, the people gonna come in, people in your ear, and that. And you just don't want the same thing to happen to you to happen to your son, right? You don't want him to go out there and meet the wrong person, have the wrong person in the corner. You think that person in your corner, but the person's really not in your corner. You know? So you just don't want your kid to deal with that same thing that you deal with. You don't want to deal with
the whole dynamic of boxing is very different out there. But, you know, and obviously your last name, you know, but don't you think with all your experience, like, I look at it this way. I know fathers and son fighters, right? A lot of different father and son fighters. And I find it good and bad.
Yeah.
I find some fathers that are, you know, they're good coaches but can't coach their kids. Mm-hmm. But I also look at it like this. You have the experience and the know-how to kind of navigate that.
Yeah.
If they buy into it.
Yeah.
But it's hard because of dad and son.
Yeah. So I was in Puerto Rico with Jake Paul and Shane Mosley was there. Me and Shane Mosley had a long talk about that, you know, because he trains his son.
Right.
And well, he doesn't train his son anymore. He brought somebody in to train his son, right? So that person he brought in to train his son acts as the trainer, but it's really him. It's really Shane giving
the trainer the instruction. So the
right?
trainer's trainer's the buffer.
Yeah. So it comes better from the trainer than
right.
Then they could take it better. And I think pretty much that's the same thing that with me and my son. I don't think it's that he doesn't respect me or he doesn't respect my opinion, but I think it's sometimes it may come better from somebody else than it's coming from me.
Well, it's also he wants to prove to you.
Yeah, but this like I tell my son all the time, man, it's nothing like I don't want you to be a fighter because you feel like you got to prove something to me. No, you don't have to prove nothing to me, bro. You nothing at all. You know, if you want to fight because you want to fight. Don't fight because you feel like I don't want you to fight. I want you to do what you want to do, right? Don't do it because of me, right? And if you are doing it because of me, then
it's the wrong reason.
You need to stop.
Yeah.
Stop. If you're doing it to please somebody else or impress somebody, stop.
Yeah.
Because that's the quickest way to get you hurt.
Yeah. No, well, that's a good aspect of coaching and everything. So, you know, I know you're big now in New Haven. You guys are working with the community, the police department, right? Mm-hmm. Great program. How many kids you got coming in off the now? Now, was that at PAL or is that a different program type of thing?
No, it's a PAL program, but I think it's more like it's an independent program.
Right, run through the city of New Haven.
So we have ages 8 to 12 and then 13 to 17. Each class is an hour, 4:30 to 5:30, and 5:30 to 7:30. And each class we got about 15, 20 kids each class.
And you're going every day?
Every Tuesday and Friday.
Every Tuesday and Friday.
Every Tuesday and Friday we work with the kids. And it's fun, man. It's fun, you know. Being able to
Yeah.
Talk to kids and know that they're listening to you and look up to you. So, I mean, it's great having fun with the kids and having to do something different. You know, boxing is definitely different sport. You know, and I tell everybody, man, boxing is not a sport that you get into.
No, boxing finds you.
And then you say, you found boxing because you didn't find boxing. Boxing found you. So,
that's why boxing finds you.
Yeah.
Listen, I was a baseball player. I ended up in a boxing gym because my dad sent me there for conditioning, and that was it.
Yeah, you fell in love.
That was it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in those days there was no, Planet Fitness or all these sports clubs where you can go and train and everything else. But I mean, and the other thing is, look, we do this for the love of the game. We love coaching, especially with the kids. These kids are sponges. They want to come in. They want to learn. And I think today, I mean, I'm sure in your area, as we are here, we're seeing a lot of kids get bullied, boys and girls. It's just,
Man,
it's, and I'm not advocating a kid to go into a boxing gym, but
I
I
talk to
think
them about that all the time.
I think it's important that you be able to take care of yourself.
I mean, bullying, like,
well, it's different.
I love this. I love when a kid comes to the gym, right? When I get a kid who comes to the gym, right? A shy kid comes to the gym. He's shy. He doesn't like to talk much, and then, you talk to him, you teach him how to box. You teach him some stuff, and they start to pick it up and they start to get it. At first, they come in, they're not sure. They feel awkward. They don't, they just can't deal with it. Other people in the gym, they feel like everybody's watching them. And then a month, 2 months go away, and then now you're looking at this kid. He comes into the gym. He doesn't worry about nothing. He
jumps rope.
He's
shadow box. Coach, what do you want me to do?
That's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling in the world. When I see kids come in and they're shy, and then I see them 2 months down the line and they come in the gym chest up, get their stuff on, get their gloves on, go hit the bag, do what they got to do, and no talking, and they just get their workout in and leave and feel comfortable.
You know what?
That's the best feeling in the
People
world.
don't realize how long it takes for a kid to even put the gloves on and start hitting the bag properly.
Yeah.
All the things that go into and it's hard with boxing, right? You play baseball, basketball, right? Basketball, you're practicing, you go out and you play a pickup game or a scrimmage and you score 10 points, 50. You see your work, right?
Yeah.
Boxing, you don't see that right away.
Nah.
You might.
That's when you got to depend on the coach to see it.
Yeah, you got to have that influence of the coach to say, "Hey, you're doing good." It's part of the process.
And a lot of times, it's hard to get them to even believe. Like, I got kids now that I trained that I trained for 2-3 months, and they still aren't confident that they're doing things the right way.
Yeah,
right? So you got to keep ensuring them. Look, I'm telling you, just got to put time and keep working on it. Keep working on it. Keep working on it. I promise you'll get it. I promise you'll get it. So, I mean,
we got a lot of instant gratification. Yeah. You got parents out there, they want to be the coaches and tell you what, how to coach my kid and what my kid, at 10 years old, just let them have fun.
Yeah. That's what it's about. At
let
that
them
age,
have
that's
fun.
What it's about. That's what it's about.
You know what I mean?
I tell everybody, it's fun. Wait, when a kid starts at 9, 10 years old, 11, it's fun. Let them have fun. Then when they get into the 13, 14, 15,
then you're going to see if they're going to.
Yeah, that's when you're going to see it.
I look at some parents and say, why are you fighting your kid at 9, 10 years old every tournament, every weekend? Why?
Yeah.
What benefit?
Yeah.
Okay, fight them in a couple of tournaments, but there's no reason to be fighting these kids every other weekend. They're taking poundings too. You're going to burn them out.
That's why I say from ages 9 to about 11 to 12, because when you turn 13, them boys is punching. 13, 14, 15, 16, them boys is punching.
Yes, banging. It's a different game.
Some punching like grown men.
And you know what? You go to different gyms, and you need to be careful because some gyms are a little more aggressive than others, and the styles of the fighters there.
Yeah, you gotta warn your fighters about that too. Yeah.
Like, listen, you need to be aware here, because everybody's so fast. When am I going to spar?
Yeah, everybody wants to spar. Yeah,
everybody wants to spar.
But
First day in the gym.
You know what I do? You want to spar? You sure? You want to spar? Put them in there. You want to learn? This is learning on the job right here, right?
Yeah.
You want to learn? You want to box? You really want to box? You keep asking me? Okay, here you go. Go ahead, get in there. And they learn quick that they wasn't ready, right?
Yeah.
That's the best way to learn. You think you're ready? Put them in there. Then they figure out, oh, coach, you're right. I wasn't ready. Damn, coach, I need to work on this, coach. Coach, I need to work on this. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to tell you that. You know what I mean?
Now, I like to put them in with guys that, like, you don't think that kid could. You want to, especially you get a new guy coming. I want to spar with him.
Yeah.
Okay, he's been training for 6 months. Put him in there with him.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see when he tokes you up over there. And But listen, I wish you great success.
Thank you.
What else do you guys got going on up there? Where can we find you on social media? And
everybody knows social media, Bad Chad Dawson, on Instagram, Facebook. Just hit me up. I'm around. Of course, working with fighters now. Working with the PAL program, working with the city, trying to help these kids get off the street. I'm just being me, man. Just living my life,
Yo, listen, you have a lot, a lot to bring to the game, and that's needed today. You got the experience, humble guy, good trainer,
Thank you.
People are going to gravitate to you on that, and you guys are doing great things up there, and we wish you a lot of success. A couple quick questions before we go. I kind of bang everybody out with some bullet points here. You get to pick one person to be in a foxhole with you. Who you picking? Dead or alive, it don't matter.
My man G-Man.
Yeah, shout out to G.
Yeah.
Straight up. He's right there with you all the
I know
time.
he coming out, yeah.
Yeah, good. 3 dinner guests, dead or alive. Whoever you want to have dinner with, sit down, talk to. Who are they?
Muhammad Ali. Marvin Hagler. And Michael Jackson.
3 good ones there. Did you ever meet Ali?
No, but I was in the same arena, but I didn't get to meet him.
You didn't get to meet him?
No, I didn't get to meet him.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, it's just he would be some dynamic to sit down and talk.
Well, the closest thing, I met Layla Ali a couple times.
Okay.
So that was close enough.
Yeah, great pedigree right there. Well, listen, great honor to have you on here today.
You,
appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
We'll see each other around. Appreciate everybody for following us and our subscribers out there. And we'll catch you on another Coach's Corner.